Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Troy Show. It's that time again. It's your favorite time of the week. It's Troy Show time. Troy time, as they call it here in my house. It's Troy time. And everybody is excited about Troy time. Mainly because I think my wife is the most excited about it. Because during Troy time, that means the kids are already in bed, and I leave the presence of my wife, and she has her own time. So everybody is excited about Troy time. Now, there's always one person who's not excited about Troy time. And there's always one person in everybody's life. There's one person who's just not satisfied with what you're doing. There's one person who will point out your mistakes because they hate your guts. And they want to stab you in the eye. And I have that. I have that friend. His name is Jordan. And we're going to try to do a segment every now and then called Girton's Gripes. Jordan Girton, where he will share with me where he believes I have been wrong on certain things. So he's a faithful listener to the program, and he takes notes, copious amounts of notes, just so he can destroy every single one of my arguments. And it makes me incredibly sad and depressed. But you know what? That means I get to take more medication, and that makes me happy. Jordan, are you there?
I'm sure you thought that this was Trey O'Donohoe, because one of my big gripes is, like, you only get him, like, one every 6 times that you call him. He must not care about you very much.
Well, for some reason, I think Trey is, he's angry. I'm not sure why he's angry. Did you listen to the last episode?
I did, and I think that he thinks he's the Belle of the ball.
You think he's the what?
He thinks that he's the Belle of the ball.
The Belle of the ball. Well, I think he's had a lot of people in his life tell him that he is they pat him on his head and they give him his props. And so he's never really had anybody kind of put him in his place. And so I figure it's my place to do that, to put him in his place. And so I'm glad to do it because we need to be humbled. And so that's also why I'm glad to give you this avenue to vent your frustrations. Now, Girton, what is it that you feel like you need to gripe about this week?
Well, obviously, everything that you say on your show,
yeah,
Mr. O'Donohoe,
yeah,
90% of it is wrong.
Is that right? 90% of what I say is wrong.
That's probably being a little harsh, but obviously you're not a reliable source of information, because a couple of podcasts ago I had a big gripe with you, and it just showed how incompetent at times that Troy O'Donohoe can be.
Right. Do you have a specific example?
Well, you basically stated that an actor who is a great actor,
oh boy,
was not a very good actor. In fact, you said that he was such a bad actor that he was good.
Right, and see, it's the argument of centricality, because he's so bad that he's actually good. Now, I'm guessing you are referring to Nicolas Cage.
I am indeed.
Yeah, he is. He's a bad actor. In fact, his badness has become a meme in our country. So if you look up memes and Nicolas Cage, you will see it all over the place. So what is your beef with me and Nicolas Cage?
Well, I think that you're judging Nicolas Cage on the Cage that's basically typically will not turn down a movie no matter how badly written or directed due to financial struggles.
Right.
Not the Nicolas Cage that we grew up knowing and loving because of his great acting skills.
Yeah.
He was such a good actor that I watched a movie that I promised and swore to never watch because it looks terrible. And because of Nicolas Cage's amazing acting skills, I watched this movie and thought, man, that was a good movie. And it was because of Nicolas. Not because of the content, it was because of Nicolas Cage.
Right.
And that would be National Treasure, because I thought that National Treasure was going to be the worst movie since, I don't know, a really bad movie that I saw once, Gremlins.
Oh, Gremlins?
And, Gremlins was terrible.
Gremlins was amazing. The best part of that movie is the lady who went up the stairs in her little stair chair. Is that in that movie where she goes up the stairs and she has some kind of chair that goes up the stairs for her? Is that movie?
I don't know, because to be honest, I've watched it from my memory. It was so terrible.
Okay. Well, if your disagreement with Nicolas Cage is the only gripe you have, then I would have to say that I'm doing okay.
Well, that's just the gripe that I'm going to air, because it shows your lack of understanding. You know, you're not like an actor connoisseur.
Right.
You know, you don't really know.
Right.
You're just speaking from how you know, a lot of people speak from ignorance. You just don't know. Just like Trey O'Donohoe, your brother, he just doesn't know that he's being rude. Yeah, like right now, I'm aware that I'm probably coming off as being rude.
Yeah.
And I apologize for that, because I don't want to be rude.
Right. Well, I mean, if you could say anything to Trey right now, because I am certain that Trey O'Donohoe is a faithful listener of the show, and he is constantly emailing me with asking me when the next episode is coming out. If you have prime time right now, what is it that you want to say to Trey O'Donohoe? Because it kind of sounds like your beef this week is not necessarily with me, but with Trey O'Donohoe.
It absolutely is, Troy. I appreciate that you would point that out, because unlike you, I don't believe that Trey is listening faithfully, and that makes him a bad brother. So next time you have him on,
yeah,
you can play that soundbite for him.
Okay.
And also, he acts like you were in the wrong for saying, certainly you saw this on my Facebook, when at the same time his example was him talking about somebody who he was like, hey, let me know when you're coming, and that friend let him know when he was going to be in town.
Yeah.
And at the same time, you know, he's not responsible for letting him know every single movement that he has. And at the same time, he's got lots of friends, not just Trey O'Donohoe. And his main medium for communicating with his friends would be Facebook. And the people that are interested in his music would be his music page or his Facebook page.
Right.
You know, the way that most people would know that he's not in, you know, it's not like he talks to Trey O'Donohoe every day. And it just shows the hubris, in my opinion, that Trey O'Donohoe has, getting on to you while basically stating, hey, make your world revolve around me, and let me know every time you make a move to his friends.
No, wait a minute. You know, Trey is, he's a good guy. Okay. I think you're being a little harsh on the man. I mean, do you realize that he scored over 500 touchdowns in his high school career?
That's amazing.
Okay. Now listen. You shouldn't compliment me, because I mean, do you want to know how many touchdowns did I make in my high school career? 0. I scored 0 touchdowns in my high school career. Now, I went to church camp and I got the Herbie the Eagle Award. Okay? So,
let me tell you something.
Yeah.
Okay? And Trey O'Donnell too. Because in high school, I scored probably and this is just a rough estimate because there's no way to really truly count how many touchdowns I scored in college, in high school. But it was probably about 8,000 touchdowns.
Wait a minute.
that I scored in high school.
Wait, you scored 80,000 touchdowns in high school?
8,000. I don't want to overestimate, but I went with just a single thousand number, the 8,000.
Okay.
Because I was really good at Madden and NCAA football, the different years that it came out.
Sure.
And we played a lot, so I scored a lot of touchdowns, and it's really made me be more successful in life. Just my success at football in high school.
Okay. Well, I measure success by the number of touchdowns that I have made in my life. So, why don't you stick that in your pipe and smoke it? Now, I've had a few episodes.
I didn't think you condoned smoking.
Well, as Will Smith once said, I chew on it, I don't light it. It's for the look. Okay.
I appreciate that.
Okay. Now, so I have had a few episodes, and you and I have had a few conversations over the past couple weeks, and one of them that kind of sticks in my mind is from the episode entitled "My Friend the Killer." Now, so my question that I had in that episode was, can somebody ever regain their identity after someone has done something? One of the recent news events that came out was the Duggar kid who did some stuff to his family, his sisters. He molested his sisters, and so that was brought out again, and he's been dragged into the mud again, and so he has to relive. He has to go through all that again. Now, I don't know the man. I don't know his heart. I don't know where he is as far as if he feels like he's been forgiven, if he has forgiven himself, if his family has forgiven him. Now, the United States of America mostly has not forgiven him and probably will not. So the question that I ask is it possible for someone to regain their identity, to be something other, to be something other than what somebody is claiming they are, whether it's true or not. So what are your thoughts on that, Jordan?
Well, I think that it is impossible to return to innocence, if you would. But that does not mean that you will always be defined by an event or certain event. You can always move forward from where you are. But you can never really go back. I mean, there's a reason that you should always think before you speak. Once you put words out, you can't take them back.
Right.
It's a reason that you should always think before you act. Because once you act, you can't pull out the remote, click, and hit the rewind button, make it all disappear.
Right.
But I do think that good can come from bad, that people can grow and change to become... We're never the same person. I'm not the same person I was 10 years ago. I'm not the same person I was 5 years ago. And that is true for people who are striving to become better, and it is true for people that are not striving to become better. Nobody is ever the same forever. So if the question is, can you return to being the person you were, I would say the answer is no. But if the question is, can you become something something other than a label that people put on you, I would say absolutely. And I would also state that the majority of Americans don't feel the way that the media would have you portray, or have you perceive, or the way that reading the response section to a column would have you think, because the majority of people don't say anything. You don't really know their thoughts. The majority is silent most of the time, and the only people that are going to say something are people that have a strong opinion one way or the other, and are the type of person that would say something. So,
now, I know you're talking reasonably, because you do believe, which I believe, that somebody can be redeemed, but why would you even want to go back to where you were? But the point is, that there are so many people who love the idea of a crazy Christian family to be destroyed in this way. Now, you yourself have talked about some of the craziness that goes on in that family, and I was unfamiliar with a lot of what you talked about, and mainly because of the insanity that you speak all the time. I just assumed that you had no idea what you were talking about, so I disregarded what you said and just completely erased it from memory. Because it really didn't make any sense to me, and I'm sure you were wrong, and so I didn't even have to research what you talked about.
You should never have to research what I talked about, because you should just take it as fact, because that's what it is.
Oh, to take it as fact?
Yeah. Okay. Whatever I say, just no need to research. You already know, but that's what it is.
No, I completely disagree, because I do believe that you don't know what you're talking about for the most part. You have some cute ideas. A lot of your ideas are cute, and they will work, like in movies. And Nicolas Cage, for instance, could probably use some of your ideology in some of his movies, and it would probably be a decent movie. But for the most part, when you can't live in movie land. You have to live in reality, and unfortunately, here's the thing: society wants him to fail, and they want the Duggar family to fail, because a lot of culture despises Christianity. So
I don't agree with that. I think that what's here is what the media tells you. And unfortunately, we live in a society where the media has become a clickbait media. Headlines, I'm going to put it out on whatever, I don't want to use a specific website.
Just say the most important one, TheTroyShow.podbean.com.
Okay, so like if Blahu is wanting clicks, they're going to say, prominent person did something terrible, and there will be a picture of a wounded dog, and they want you to click on it, and you find out that Miley Cyrus was late getting home when she got caught in traffic, and her dog had an accident on the floor, and it was terrible. PETA needs to be called. In the Duggar instance, it's like, he raped his sisters, when in actuality it was a 14-year-old boy with no... I'm sorry, I just got in my car. A 14-year-old boy had no kind of outlet. He did something terrible. He knew he did something terrible, and he went to his parents crying and confessed it. Now, that's not to say that he didn't do something wrong more than one time, but it said something to me of the character of the crazy Christian family, that their son would do something wrong, that terrible, and go and confess it to his parents. Most kids that do something kind of bad, they don't go and confess it to their parents. They kind of hide it until they get caught. So I think that we hear the story that the media wants us to hear, and the story is never, hey, there were amazing, happy feelings going on somewhere, and things were all good, and it's going to get more clicks if it's something terrible.
Right.
And unfortunately, today's media is after clicks.
Well, so do you disagree then with the idea that a lot of people love the fact that he got caught doing this?
Well, the sad thing is he got caught a long time ago.
Yeah.
And the only reason that it's news is because somebody could make $1 off of it.
Right. Okay.
It's not because somebody was actually upset or felt that he had gotten away with something, or this is something that had come out, and back before the show even started, the Oprah Winfrey show knew about the incident. I'm pretty sure. Don't quote me on that. I don't know that to be a fact, but I have heard that. And they did a big interview with the family, and this was right after everything had happened, and he wasn't on the show that day. So they did that first interview, and this was before it was a series. They had done special at that point, but nothing beyond that. And it didn't make news then because there was no money to be made from it. But now there's money to be made from it, so we'll make it a story today.
Okay. Well, let me continue. We have a few more minutes left, and another topic that was discussed this week was about Bruce Jenner. Now, I need to be careful here because I was called out for saying the name Bruce because he changed his name to Caitlyn, and so I was told I need to say Caitlyn out of respect, and I understand that, and I do respect what he decided to do. I can understand on a certain level why someone would have to go to the length that he went to, because inside of him, and I feel like this is the same with every single person in the world, if you deny this fact, then you're lying to yourself. But I believe that every single person in the world has some kind of broken soul. And when I spoke to Trey about this, I think his opinion was I think his was a good opinion, that we should not be getting upset about this. This is not something that should concern anybody because it's something that he did, and not Trey. Trey has not done this. Trey has not.
Sure?
Pardon me?
Are you sure?
I can't be certain.
Have you seen any recent pictures?
No.
Okay. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, but that's interesting because I never really considered it. I've always just considered the fact that Trey was, my brother, which would indicate that he's of the male origin. So, that's a really good point. I don't know if he has gone through any transitions.
Well, I think that the important question to ask, if I agree that all people are broken, and you don't fix broken things by smashing them. And I also think I try to put myself in the situation of what if this were person X who I love, and how would that change the prism that I would see this situation through? If
this was somebody that you knew and somebody that you loved.
Yeah. And I mean, do you but because it does not affect me when it's Caitlyn, Bruce, whatever you want to call, whatever his or her name is. I don't know how to treat that, but if you put yourself in closer proximity to the situation, because it's not just her or him, Bruce, Caitlyn, that is dealing with this struggle or issue, or it's not something that I've ever had to encounter personally. But if I did, would I break that person, or would I love that person? I think at the end of the day, God would want us to love that person.
Right.
Because no matter how broken somebody is on the inside or the outside, they still have God's image in them.
Right. And, one of the comments that was made is a brilliant comment is, it is true that this doesn't affect really anybody but Bruce Caitlyn Jenner, except for the fact that it does affect his family. So you are right about that, because especially, my friend who made the comment was talking about some of her friends who are in the process of transitioning. And, so, she talked about how, this could affect, it doesn't just affect her, it affects her family, especially if she is depressed and withdrawn and isolating herself. Then, typically something is going on in somebody's life where they feel like they have to make this big of a change. And so if that's going on, there's got to be also some kind of, I don't know, I can't put myself in those shoes, but I would imagine there's some kind of depression going on, and which would, cause you to isolate yourself and pull yourself away from kids, family, whatever. So I think you're right. God loves all people, and the people who are looking at this and saying that he sinned, that he did something immoral. I cannot put myself in that position, because frankly, I've made a lot of mistakes in my life, and all of the mistakes that I've made, I believe, have easily been wiped clean by the blood of Christ. Now,
to me, Troy, it's easy to say this person is sinning, and a lot of people are like, well, if he was a Christian or she was a Christian, they wouldn't do those things. They, it's never. I am a sinner. I am a Christian. I still sin. I'm still a Christian. People do think, whether what Bruce or Caitlyn Jenner is or has done, or whether it's good, right, wrong, left, whatever, at the end of the day, she is still a person. Still has God's image in that person, and God's image is beautiful. And God wants us to love each other, and like I said, you can't fix broken things by fashion.
Right. And I think the bad news about this whole thing is a broken soul, and I would have to imagine that's what it is, because if she has been living in this place where all of her life she's felt like she was born the wrong person, that she has had to suffer through this, it's got to cause some kind of problem. And I've got to imagine that it's some kind of issue deep down inside of somebody. And as I've said before, a self-help book or a counseling session or something like that, man cannot fix a soul that is broken. Only God can do that, because only God can see the soul, and only God can fix the soul. So, Jordan, I will give you the last word. You have about 1 minute to include any additional gripes that you might have.
Trey, be a better brother. Listen to the Troy Show, because it's awesome. Troy, you're wrong more than 10%. You're wrong more than 10% of the time, but you're also not right 90% of the time. Do the math. Thanks for having me on, and I look forward to next time.
Okay. Do you want to close the program? Do you want to give? Because one of the gripes you've had is you don't like the ending.
I like the ending. but you always mess.
Okay, why don't you do it? You know, I'm gonna sit back, and I'm gonna let you end the show.
You know, you haven't done it right yet. Okay, so I want you to give it one last try. I want you. I believe in you, Troy. You can do it.
Okay.
You can do it. If you fail, we'll let me end it better next time.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. All right. Well, that's the end of the Troy Show. Look me up, please, on Facebook, facebook.com/TheTroyShow, and leave me a voicemail if you have a gripe yourself. 707-874-TROY. And facebook.com/TheTroyShow. You can look me up on Twitter, which, you know, I've got like 10 followers on Twitter. So Twitter has not seen much action. But it's I think it's Troy O Show. So, yeah, Troy O Show on Twitter. I'm a little nervous about this because I don't want to get it wrong. But we're going to try it. We're going to try the ending. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Remember, folks, until we meet again,